Joined now by head coach of the Minnesota State Mavericks, Mike Hastings. Mike, coming off a road split at Ferris State, continue CCHA action this weekend with Bowling Green coming to town. Maybe your comments on Ferris State, and then let's talk a little bit about Bowling Green.
Yeah, first of all, I thought the Ferris State weekend, we didn't do quite enough, and they did on Friday. As far as I thought the compete level from Ferris State, was at a higher level than us, and they were rewarded for that. Got ourselves a bit of a hole, ended up, being down by 2 and couldn't find a way to get one by Stein. I thought he played very, very well, and they deserved to win the game on Friday. And then on Saturday, we kind of just stuck with it. I had a good first period. That was aided by a 5-minute major penalty that we were able to be on the power play for a while, but again, we didn't cash in. Ended up giving up a goal and having to play from behind again, and we're fortunate enough to stick with it. Our power play bailed us out a little bit, and a couple of goals, and allowed us to get a lead and then extend a lead in the third period. So it allowed us to get a split in our league. When you get a split, I don't think you can be too disappointed with that, because I think it's hard to go and get sweeps in the CCHA. So that's one. This weekend, playing a very quality opponent that's on a bit of a roll. Bowling Green, I think's lost 1 game the entire season. They've got a few guys that have come back and been very productive for them, and then they've got some new guys in their lineup. A freshman with Schmeikler, who's leading their team in scoring. Burke from Minnesota, the transfers. They've really molded well with the returners, and with Rose going between the posts. I think they've got somebody there that's very comfortable with. Stoller came in and had really good numbers in his start. It's always a battle against Bowling Green. I think we're pretty close to 500 with them in head-to-head from the time that we got together in the new WCHA. And so I expect a great weekend of hockey here at the Mayo Event Center, and I think it's going to be a big challenge for us because they're a very quality opponent.
Okay, thanks for that, Mike. Questions for Mike Hastings?
Coach, for the last 5, by my count, you guys have given up the first goal of the contest. Is that not enough of a trend for you yet, or cause you just a little bit of concern?
Yeah, it's absolutely, that's a trend. It's one I don't like, and again, I think it's something that we've got to, we haven't lost a lot of games when that's happened. Now, I think you're putting yourself in the spot of climbing uphill early. And for us, it's something we're talking about, it's something we're focusing on. But again, I think it's more our process and our quality of play. Being able to find a way to get the first one, I think obviously puts you in a good spot because you're playing with a lead. And we've shown that we can win when we don't score first. But it's a habit that we're definitely trying to address and make sure that we get off to better starts than we have recently.
Kevin Dudley, you have a question for Mike Hastings, please.
Mike, you said after the loss Friday at Ferris that it was something you had to learn from, and I think Saturday it wasn't another great start, but it seemed like the guys really rallied late in the game Saturday. What do you feel like you can take from that, and do you feel like that is one the guys can maybe draw upon, as the season goes on?
Yeah, I want to give our guys credit on Saturday. I think we came out and the shots at one time were 13 or 14-0. So I thought our guys did what we asked them to do as far as coming out. We just, again, our issue's been a little bit of our finish. You see a couple of guys that I think, erased goose eggs as far as goals on the season in Caden Worchard. He gets his first one and it doesn't take him long to get his second. David Cillier, who you'll be hearing from here in a little bit, ends up getting his first of the season. So hopefully we're going to go back to the story that we've got depth scoring and that we're not relying just either on a power play or relying on some individuals. So I liked our start on Saturday. I didn't think they were rewarded for it. I thought we were harder. And our ability to stick with it, I think, would allow us to win that game. So I do think we learned from Friday. We'll see how much when the puck drops on Friday in our own building, because one thing Bowling Green's done a good job of is getting out early and and being an aggressor, whether they've been at home or on the road.
Don, did you have another question there? Your hand was up there for a second.
I was just going to ask about Cade, and obviously he had gone a while without popping two in, and like you hear and see so many times, you get that first one, the second one came right away, and obviously he's feeling a whole lot better about his game right now.
I hope so, and he's had a little bounce in his step this week in practice. And again, he's somebody that, we had some individual meetings this week, and it was just to touch base with our guys and how we're doing in hockey and in life. And one thing he talked about was just exactly what you brought up, is he feels, it's nice to get that one behind a goaltender, because early in that game, for anybody that was watching, Cade had, I think, 3 or 4 looks, and you could tell he was gripping it a little bit, because not one of them hit between the posts. He shot him wide. And sometimes that's a tendency of a guy that's trying a little bit too hard and gripping his stick a little bit. And so for him to get the first one, and then, I think Keto and him got into a little bit of I'm not going to say a disagreement, I'm going to say just a discussion on when Keto floated that one to the net, and it just grazed off of Borch. And Borch said, I didn't want to tell him it hit me. And Keto says, well, I wish he wouldn't have. And what I said is, I just told Borch, I said, hey, what'd you learn from that? And he goes, get to the net. And so hopefully those are some things that he's feeling good about, because he's been playing better than his goals for himself. And hopefully he can contribute this weekend.
Daniel McElroy, you have a question?
Yeah, Coach, looking ahead to this weekend, there's been a pretty fierce rivalry brewing with Bowling Green. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and how the players are anticipating the match?
Yeah, I appreciate you seeing that, because it has been since day one. In Chris Bergeron's days, and Ty was a part of that staff. There's a reason they call that a madhouse in Bowling Green. It's a difficult place to go and play. Very seldomly have we gone into that building, and I don't think we've ever gone in and swept. Very seldomly have they come into our building and we've swept. It's always a battle, because you've got two teams that I think like to play an aggressive style, whether they have the puck or they don't. And the mentality, you can see Ty's got his own way of doing things, but the one thing that hasn't changed is the compete level of Bowling Green. And all the way from their administration to the coaching staff to the team, from day one, my experiences with Bowling Green is one I've got a tremendous amount of respect for all those that I just brought up. And they always make us better, because when we get done playing them, we've been challenged in a multitude of ways, whether it's special teams, whether it's physicality, commitment to defending, blocking shots, doing all the little things, face-offs. They expose your weaknesses. And so I've got a tremendous amount of respect for them. And again, you've seen it's usually a coin toss between our two teams when we're both playing well. And I think both teams are playing well right now, so it should be an outstanding weekend.
Kevin, you have a question?
Yeah. Hey, Mike. A few guys that were out of the lineup last weekend, Julian Napravnik and Lucas Sauter. Wonder if you have any update on how those guys are doing this week.
Yeah, they've been skating with us since Monday. So they're cleared, and actually it's been nice to have them back out on the rink with us, and they're energized, they're well rested. And hopefully they can continue to have one more real strong day here and feel good about going into Friday.
One more question from Mike Hastings, if you have one. Okay, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thanks. Good.
Okay, joined now by sophomore center David Cilia. Am I pronouncing it correctly, David?
Yes.
Okay. So I was, I'm an old guy, and I think I saw your dad play on TV with the Stampeders, and it was Cilia.
Was that what they
Cilia,
called it?
Jim Cilia.
He hated that.
All right, so How are things going so far for you? David, you obviously transferred in and in your first year with the Mavericks, and you've been through the first 10 games. Tell us how the 10 games gone for you so far.
Good, coming in, it was a quick summer, and it's crazy to think we're already 10 games in. But we had a tough stretch early on. I think we did well, built a lot of character for the team, and now getting into conference play, we're super excited. We're super excited for this week. It's Bowling Green.
Okay, thanks for that. We've got Don Westfall, Kevin Dudley, and Daniel McElroy online here. So let's see if anybody has a question. Looks like Don Westfall, you're first up.
David, just wondering from your standpoint, are you pleased with the, I guess, acclimation you've made to the program? Has it gone maybe a little bit better than you anticipated, or just kind of where would you assess that?
Yeah, I think overall, at a 10-game checkpoint, I got to be happy, but definitely not satisfied. As a player, you always want to kind of push yourself, and comfort is kind of a killer. So, it's good to get in, kind of find a spot in the lineup, and just making sure I'm staying on my details and keeping that spot and kind of pushing each other. Just overall, just makes the team, kind of better if we all push each other. So.
Okay, Kevin Dudley, you have a question?
Hey, David. You've really carved out a role in a lot of different ways, doing a lot of key things. I think one thing people have noticed is penalty killing. Maybe talk about that. Is that something you've done a lot in the past, and maybe something you pride yourself on?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming from juniors, that's when I was 17. That was a way to get extra ice and kind of find a way in your lineup every night from the PK. So something I built up there, and talking to Nod over the summer, he expressed an opportunity there at the PK on the PK, and they gave him the opportunity. I've tried my best to keep that and hold that and bring it every night. So,
Daniel McElroy, if you have a question, go ahead.
Hey, David. Do you want to talk a little bit about your first goal, and if it was kind of like a little bit of a weight off of your shoulders, especially after a little dry stretch there?
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of 2 years in the making, so it was really nice sense of relief to get that first one. But yeah, after the shift after a goal, you're trying to get the puck in deep and keep the momentum. And Sandy made a strong play, just bring it to the net. And Goaler was a man in front, and I was lucky to hit my stick and go in. But yeah, like you said, huge sense of relief after a 2-year dry spell. So it was good.
One more question, if you have it, for David Cilia. Okay, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, Dave, I was just wondering how happy you were with the response after the loss Friday night with, the way your team came back, scoring 5 unanswered on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Coach said after the game, as long as we learn from it and respond from it, then we can take it as positive and move on and don't take any steps back. So, this is a moment come playoff time, come whenever the end of the season, we can look back on this and kind of remember it and use it to build and move forward. So extremely happy with the way we responded. Absolutely.